What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a week 9 for our Betting Pros live stream here. Matt Perrault with you, host of the Daily Juice for week 9 in the NFL. For the next hour, we're going to go through a bunch of player props. We're going to go through a bunch of lines. We're going to go through a bunch of injury news, COVID concerns, who's in, who is out. But reminder, we are not doing starting and stopping, or starting and rostering. We don't do that. So right now, you guys can go and search the Fantasy Pros on YouTube. You're on YouTube right now. You can go to Fantasy Pros. They'll tell you all about their who to start, who to sit, who to draft, who not. Nah, we're doing gambling here, okay? We're talking about betting. We're talking about where your money is going today. And as you guys, as I always say, coming up over here, right there, you guys will see my plays. I apologize for my eye. If it gets really nasty, tell me. I'll turn my hat around if you guys don't want to look at it. It's kind of a... I don't know what's going on with it. It woke up this morning, and it was getting red yesterday. It was getting red Thursday, actually. If you watched the Dan Harris and I, our NFL podcast on Betting Pros every week, my eye was getting redder and more red. So I apologize for that here on a Sunday morning. It's early. Boy, look, we're at the midway point of the year, right? And there are a lot of really great games today. But I'm sporting my Chargers hat today because I've been talking about this all week. That's the play I like the best. You guys are going to go and see it here. Chargers at a pick. The number has ping-ponged a little bit here. Raiders -1, Chargers -1. I think it's going to be a really good game today. Looking forward to that coming up here at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1:05 Pacific time for that game at SoFi Stadium over in Los Angeles. Raiders after a big win. And then obviously the Chargers, who can't close out a game against anybody, had a lead late against the Broncos last week and choked it away. But I think Justin Herbert has a big game, so we're going to have a lot on that coming up today on the program. So how we start the live stream, if you guys are new, I go through and FanDuel every day, every week. It's great. They send us off this sheet of where the money is going. Now, this is not indicative as to where your bet should going. It's just interesting to see where people are going as to line movement, as to where the number is, and as to how much money, what people are on either side. So let's start here at FanDuel. Let's get into where we are in week number 9 of the NFL. All right, so this game, Ravens-Colts, is fascinating. So Dave Sharapan and I were going back and forth this morning, actually, on this game because he and I are together in the Westgate contest. At Sports Talk Matt is my Twitter account. You guys can go right there and you can look at my plays for the Circa Million 2, the Westgate Super Contest Reboot, and for the DraftKings Pro Football Pick'em. So I'm in 3 contests now for games. So, I like doing the partner thing. I like ping-ponging ideas off of people, and it helps me in my process of figuring out what games to bet and what games we're picking. And, the Ravens are the consensus pick for all of us. The Ravens are also, according to the numbers, the Ravens are the overwhelming favorite here. And it is kind of interesting because it was Ravens -4. Then the COVID concern came out, and Marlon Humphreys tested positive, and 6 players who were close to him were also put on the COVID list. All 6 of those players are playing today. So when that happened, no Humphreys, but then all of a sudden the number swung back a little bit and became -1.5, -2. At one point, the Ravens were underdogs here. They're catching a point in this game. But at -1, 1.5, 2, I like the Ravens under a field goal here on the road at Indianapolis. Do I think that 89% of the money is on Baltimore? I don't know. Maybe. The pros, according to Dave Sharapan, he's seeing this game as one where the pros have played both sides, and they're trying to middle it out. Ravens -4, Colts +1. Or Colts -1, kind of flipping around and getting dog prices and taking the Colts at +4, taking the Ravens at +1, trying to get somewhere in the middle there on both sides. So Dave doesn't believe this at FanDuel or anybody for that matter who are reporting a monster side on the Colts. He thinks there's, or on the Ravens rather, he thinks there's quite a bit of money on the Colts. So again, I always say this, the reporting from the sports books, they tell us this for a reason, and you can't always trust what they're telling us because it's a snapshot. When was this taken? How early this morning? However, yesterday? Where are we? So there's a lot of things out there when it comes to, dollar, where the money is going. But 89% of the bets and the money on the Ravens today. I'm on the Ravens. All 3 of my teams are on the Ravens. So, if you're on the Colts, you are in a very contrarian position. I don't hate being a contrarian by any means. The thing I'll say to you is this. You better hope the Colts play with the lead. Because if the Colts get down, Phillip Rivers is a sitting duck, and the Ravens are going to blitz the holy hell out of him, and he's going to have a tough time. So if he's got to stand back there and throw the football a lot, that's not good news if you're a Colts bettor. So you want the Colts to get off to a fast start. You want Indy to have a lead. No crowd, really. So, there's not going to be any environment here. But if I'm a Colts backer, I'm watching that first quarter intently. And you're hoping that you see a very big first quarter for Indianapolis because that will set the tone for the rest of the game. Look, it's been a rough year so far for Lamar Jackson. It's been a rough year throwing the football for Lamar Jackson. I'll be very curious to watch and see how he bounces back after the performance in the fumble late in that game against the Steelers. So let's see what happens with them. I like the Ravens. All three of my teams are on the Ravens today. So I have money, 3 picks. It's a big game for me. It's a big circle game for me. I'm going to be glued to watching the Ravens and the Colts today. Very much. We'll have a vast majority of my attention coming up today for this game. Now, Panthers at the Chiefs. This is a lopsided game. But Run CMC's coming back, and Christian McCaffrey will be in this game, and we will see what they do with Joe Brady's offense now that McCaffrey is back. If you remember the conversations I was having with Dan Harris on our podcast, on the Betting Pros NFL podcast, I've been talking on my radio show to PFF folks every week. And there are a couple of people who work at Pro Football Focus who believe that the offense for the Panthers is better without McCaffrey than with McCaffrey. They are more diverse. They spread the ball around. They use different weapons. But this offense has really bogged down. This offense has not done what it was doing earlier. The tape is out. People are understanding how to stop it. And so now you're adding McCaffrey. Could Christian McCaffrey have a big game today? Yes, he could have a monster game today. There's no debating that. I have to remember to roster him on my fantasy team. I have one fantasy team. I don't play fantasy sports, but everyone in the league got mad at me because I kind of stopped. I had a week where I had 3 guys on a bye, and I didn't care, and I didn't stop to do it. So I'm that guy. They got all mad at me. They're like, come on, man, you're in the league. How do you not pay attention? So, all right. So now I'm paying attention. I got to remember to roster Christian McCaffrey. If you have Christian McCaffrey on your bench, he's back, so he's playing. So go ahead and roster him. But Chiefs at Panthers. So this is a game that Dan Harris and I swapped out, and we decided to take and say, okay, this is not going to work for us with 10.5, but 87% of the bets and 89% of the money at FanDuel all coming in here on Kansas City. The over with 93% over 50.5 points, which you just figure it's the Chiefs, so bet the over. 90% of the money, 93% of the bets are coming in here on the over. I don't hate that play because, again, it's the Chiefs, so, it's a lot of they score points. That's what they do. They're very good at that for scoring points. So you got that. Bears and the Titans right now, 49-51. Bets split, shaded a little towards the Titans, -6.5. 37% of the money on the Bears, 63% of the money coming in here on the Titans. I got to be honest, if I was going to take... Oh, by the way, we dropped that and replaced it with the Ravens. So we dropped the Chiefs, Dan Harris and I, and we put in the Ravens. That's why the Ravens are part of all 3 of my plays, all 3 of my team bet picks for the football picking contests. But the Titans and the Bears... I mean, I would have taken the Bears here, and I would have taken the 6.5 points on the road if I was going to bet this game, and I thought about it quite hard, but it's just Nick Foles. It's this offense. It's, Trubisky's banged up. I just don't like what's going on right now in Chicago to trust them on the road to go to Tennessee because the Titans are really angry about the way they've been playing. The question I've got here in this game is, are the Titans for real or are they pretenders? This is a game that if you are for real, when things start going the other way on you, you have to bow up and show that you are a competitor and you are a team that's going to be reckoned with in the AFC. This is a game where the Titans have to win it convincingly. The Bears' defense is good, but they're not a good football team. They have been overrated all year. They've gotten lucky in a bunch of different games. Never should have beaten teams like the Bucs and whatnot. So if you're a Bears fan, I'm sorry. I'm just not a big fan of this Bears team at all. This is a game the Titans have to win. Do they cover? I don't know, but they better win this game. This is a game at home. You've got to take care of business if you're the Tennessee Titans. On the total of 47 points, the under, as you would expect, 59% of the money in the bets are on the under for the Bears and the Titans. Broncos at the Falcons. I don't know how the hell you're betting this game. I mean, what do you expect out of Drew Lock? I don't know. What do you expected out of this Falcon offense? I don't know. Calvin Ridley is expected not to play today for the Atlanta Falcons. That's not great here. And I look at the numbers, 4.5 for the Falcons. Do you want to lay 4.5 with the Falcons? I don't. They are getting 57% of the bets and 60% of the money at FanDuel coming in here on the Broncos plus 4.5. The over is getting 72% of the money, 48.5 for the over in the Broncos and the Falcons. Lions at the Vikings. So here's the big news, right? Matthew Stafford is cleared, COVID-19, no worries. He is playing in this game. That's gigantic. No Galladay, I believe, right, for the Lions. But this is the Vikings. I thought about taking the Vikings, but the second that Stafford came in, the number kind of swung. It was 4.5. Now it's 3 for the Vikings at home. Basically, it's a pick 'em on a neutral field if there is a home field advantage. Total is 51.5. Big money coming in here on the Minnesota Vikings. 63% of the money on the Vikings, 76% of the bets on the Vikings. It was a punt, no play game for me because of the COVID-19 questions. I would have bet the Vikings if I was going to, but I did not. One of my teams has taken the Texans, laying 6.5 at Jacksonville. No Gardner Minshew, backup quarterback situation. I mean, this is being bet like the game's already been played, so I hate this. 89% of the bets and 84% of the money are laying the 6.5 with the Texans. I didn't bet it, just picked it with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Total is 48.5. From a total perspective, 54% of the bets are coming in here on the over for points. Everyone's betting overs because that's what you do in the NFL now. Giants, this is a Dave Sharapan special. Giants, Dave likes the Giants to win this game outright, and he kind of stood on a table as we were going through our plays. He said, look, Giants, even with some of the injury concerns with the Giants, he still liked the Giants to win this game outright against the Washington football team on the road with Danny Dimes. You got 58% of the bets and 64% of the money on Giants plus 2.5 plus 3. 43.5 is the total with 66% of the money coming in on the over. But the money line, 82% of the bets and 79% of the money coming in on the Giants. So if you're looking for a dog to bet on the money line, Giants could be a play you want to throw on there for a money line wager. And this kind of goes back to yesterday. I didn't, for the Daily Juice, I make picks. And what I say is when we take dogs, oftentimes sprinkle on the money line. So Florida plus 3, bet full unit, but sprinkle on the money line. Notre Dame plus 5.5, take it, sprinkle on the money line. I was able to absorb a couple of awful bets. I had Hawaii yesterday on the podcast. I had Oregon State on the Discord channel. Not a good day for me, but I was able to save myself from having a horrific day because of the money line wager. So if you take the Giants at plus 2.5, you probably should sprinkle on the money line. It's not going to be dramatically different, but you're going to take the 2.5 points, but also coming here on the Giants to have a victory. So just consider that when you're betting dogs, that it is often smart to, at least a little bit, right? I don't know what your unit is, but if you're betting $100, it's not bad to throw $25, $20 on a dog. And if it catches, you're going to be really, it's going to be a really good game for you. So that's what happened yesterday for me a couple times. So I was lucky to kind of save my tail. So that's a betting philosophy. I don't like telling people to do that because if I'm wrong, then you're getting really down. So for the Daily Juice purposes of here's what I think you guys should do, I don't like saying that. So it's up to you. It's kind of like a buyer's choice, bettor's choice, if you will. But if you're going to bet a dog, it's often smart to go ahead and 0.25 units, 0.15 units, whatever it might be, just kind of sprinkle it in there on the dog because you could wind up getting yourself a pretty nice payday and save yourself if you have other bets that don't go your way, like me yesterday. Seahawks against the Bills. Couple of games I like a ton. Here's a game I like a ton. Weather is perfect. Russell Wilson against this Bills defense. Look, I know Carson's out, but I still think they're going to run the football. I still think they're going to move the football. I don't like this Bills defense. I haven't liked this Bills defense, but this game is being bet like it's already been played, and I hate it, okay? Seahawks -3. I have my bets on it. I've got my all three of my teams are on it. 91% of the bets and 83% of the money coming in here on the Seahawks -3 on the road at Buffalo. So again, if you want to go contrarian, bet the Colts and the Bills. Okay? If you're a contrarian bettor, Colts, Bills, those are the two sides you should be on today because it works. It's just that's where you need to be, and that's where if you want to go this direction. I tend to try to use this information, not bet off this information, if you know what I mean. Like, if I'm kind of wishy-washy, then I may go look at it. But I just think Russell Wilson against that defense with the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, I don't like. You guys, if you watch the live stream, I am the biggest Josh Allen hater on the planet. So I don't like Josh Allen. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to fade on the Bills. And so, I've bet this game. I've got 3 picks in this game. If I'm wrong about the Chargers and I'm wrong about the Seahawks, I'm going to have a crap day, straight up. Like, these are the 2 games that I'm looking at that need to be good. And if they're not, I'm in trouble. So if I'm way off, it's going to be a bad day. But I've already told you about the Chargers. This line is swinging around, but Chargers, they're part of my teaser. They're on 2 of my teams, 2 team plays. So I have a bet on the Chargers at Pick'em. I have teased this game up to Chargers +6. I mean, it's just kind of, it's just one of these things where you're like, oh my gosh, if the Raiders win this game outright, again, I'm in trouble. So I've got a lot riding on Justin Herbert. I got a lot riding on this Chargers team at home to win this game. Just by a point, just win this game. And if they win this game, I'm good. Now, if the Raiders win by 5 or less, I'm fine on at least one of my plays. But bad news for me on 2 of my teams, and I need Herbert. The good news is Keenan Allen is playing. All right, you haven't heard. Keenan Allen cleared your COVID protocols. He had a sore throat. They were nervous about that. It may just be a common cold, could be strep throat, whatever it is, but he's playing today. So Keenan Allen is playing. Monster for Mike Williams as well, because now you got to if you're the Raiders, you have to keep track of both guys. Big injuries with corners, with the Raiders. Their pass rush has not been that great, but I think Herbert's going to be able to scoot and run. I like this is a big game for Justin Herbert here. Okay, he's I think they have turned this offense over to Herbert, and he's got his weapons now. So big receivers, the corners are small for the Raiders. I love Jonathan Abram. I think he's a thumper. He's a great player, but cornerback wise, Arnett getting hurt was really tough for them. I think this is a good game passing wise for the Chargers. Chargers will win this game. Cardinals against the Dolphins. I went back and forth like crazy on this game. So Dan Harris and I have picked this game at 4.5. I didn't bet this game. Okay, I was kind of talked off of it just because one of the things that I have subscribed to, and you guys may or may not subscribe to this, but eliminating variables. If you can eliminate variables, that's how you can figure out what side to be on. And the biggest variable right now in this game is what this defense is going to do for the Dolphins against this offense for Kyler Murray. All right. I have not found the prop bet that I like yet for Murray. I looked at it. Kyler Murray rushing props today, I like. I'll show you the player props here in a second. I have not bet it yet. I may add it on the Discord channel, bettingpros.com/chat. If I find a number that I like and the juice that I like, I'm still shopping. I have not found a Kyler Murray running. But here's the thing. The Dolphins play a lot of man-to-man defense. They're going to turn their back, and they're going to guard all these weapons, Nuke Hopkins and whatnot. That's going to let Murray go. All right, Murray's just going to zip, see ya. So rushing props for Murray, shop around and find one, and then follow. Be on the Discord channel coming up here. 9:30 Pacific time, 12:30 Eastern, and if I find one that I like, I'll pass it along and say yes, I'm betting this prop. But Cardinals -4.5 to 5.5. What will Tua Tagovailoa do? I don't know, but everyone's on the Cardinals right now. 84% of the money and the bets are all on the Cardinals. Cardinals defense is pretty good. It's good enough. Murray, is a big difference maker, but Tua might be as well. I mean, he played horrifically last week, and we talked about this a lot on the Daily Juice, but the yardage differential between the Rams and the Dolphins last week was the 3rd biggest in the last 20 years. Over 350 yardage differential between the Rams and the Dolphins, yet the Dolphins killed the Rams. Why? Special teams and defensive touchdowns and scores and setups for the offense. Sure, Tua threw a touchdown pass, but he had one. It was 93 yards, and he did really nothing after that. So what do the Cardinals do, and whether, let's see what Miami does offensively. Do they turn the guy loose, and does Tua, show out? I mean, right now, the better Tagovailoa brother is the dude playing at Maryland. His little brother is showing out. I need to see a little more from Tua here coming up with the Dolphins. Maybe today's the day. So I passed on this game betting-wise simply because of that reason, with the kind of the variable there with the Dolphins defense against this Cardinals offense. Steelers-Cowboys. Number is climbing. It finally got over 14.5. This is ridiculous. 14.5. Look, it doesn't matter who plays quarterback for the Cowboys. Their offensive line is not as healthy as it should be. I mean, this is a complete pass. Like, this game, okay, you can tease this down and tease the Steelers, and everyone's going to tease this down, okay? But, I mean, at 14.5, 87% of the bets and 84% of the money are on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The total is 43.5, and 79% of the money is coming in here on the over. I do think Big Ben eats, though, and throws. One game left today to talk about Saints and the Bucs. Sunday Night Football, biggest game of the day, monster game. 3.5 spread now. It's come down a little bit from 4.5. 60% of the money and 61% of the bets are coming in here on Tampa. Everyone's going off the stat of Tom Brady playing a divisional opponent for the second time in a season. He's like 8-0 against the spread, something like that. I mean, or 9-0 against the spread. He's got a killer record against the spread, playing a team for the second time. Bucs lost to the Saints early in the year at home. Still like the Saints here. This is the other side of my teaser. Saints +4, +4.5, and I have teased the Saints up here, up to 10. So I got it at 4.5, bet it, and then I waited a little bit to play the teaser, and thus I got 4 on the Saints and teased it up to 10. So I got double digits, Saints +10 and Saints +4.5 going today in this game. 82% of the bets is on the over, while 52% of the money is on the under. So you could see pros versus Joes here a little bit on this game. You got the 52% on the under, 82% on the over for bets. So public likes scoring under for the professionals, and Patriots, Jets, line's 9.5 now because no Sam Darnold. What do you do with that game? We'll talk about that game tomorrow on the Daily Juice, but what do you do with that game? That game's just, my gosh. that game is absolutely crazy on that one. So, they love to talk about big bets. Look, $22,000 came in here on the Raiders, -1.5 at FanDuel this morning. Good. $40,000 came in on the money line for the Ravens at -108. That would clear $37,000. Okay. So those are just where the numbers are going here for week number 9 of the NFL. Okay, so let me get to a couple questions here before I get to the prop bets here. Sal says Falcons 1-6 before the bye over the last 7 seasons. Yep. Look, I don't, his history doesn't matter all that much to me, but I do think there's some interesting situations here to look at when it comes to the Falcons and just how poorly they have played over the years going into this. Salaries, last time Lamar Jackson and Rivers faced off each other in the 2018 postseason, Rivers and the Chargers defeated the Ravens. Worth looking into that. No. No. Just finished listening to the podcast and the Daily Juice. You're right about the over prop on Herbert. All right, well, that just leads us right into it. Okay, so let's just get right into it here. Here are the player props. So these 4 are on the Daily Juice, on the Betting Pros prop cheat sheet. Okay, bettingpros.com prop cheat sheet. My favorite is Justin Herbert over 259.5 yards passing. William Hill juiced it to -140. Screw you, but they juiced it up. I bet it anyway. My favorite prop, I think Herbert's going to throw all over the place today. Okay, Herbert, big passing day today. Justin Herbert over 259.5 passing yards. See if you can get better juice than I did. See if you can get better than that. Than that. At William Hill is where I got it, -140. Hopefully you can get it better than me because that's a lot of juice to pay on a prop, but it's because I think Herbert's going to throw like crazy. He is being projected. It's the number 1 prop on the prop sheet. I liked it before, and then it just kind of confirmed it for me. Our cheat sheet liked it number 1 with about 30 yards. They've got Herbert going for about 290 today. So you've got Herbert with a lot of value there. Number 1 prop on the cheat sheet. My favorite prop before I even saw the cheat sheet. But Herbert throwing the football with Keenan Allen playing. Mike Williams as well throwing the football over 259.5 yards passing at William Hill. Number 2, Alvin Kamara. Over 41.5 yards receiving, -130 at DraftKings is where I got that. I think Kamara is going to be just tremendous today, catching the football. Huge weapon. They can't guard him. The Bucs are having a tough time guarding running backs out of the backfield, and I just think he's a monster weapon now that Michael Thomas is playing because it opens up the field entirely for Alvin Kamara when Michael Thomas is playing. So big day for Kamara. A lot of worry for that Bucs defense having to cover Michael Thomas. So that's Alvin Kamara. Let's go for him. Big Ben passing over 260.5 It's the Cowboys' defense. It's garbage. I don't know what if the Steelers win this game 40-0, I'm not going to be surprised. And the Cowboys are absolutely trash. And it doesn't matter if it's Ben DiNucci or whoever, Rush or whoever. It doesn't matter to me. It's Gilbert. I mean, whoever plays quarterback today for the Cowboys. I mean, they just don't have an offense right now or a quarterback. And yeah, it's Elliott maybe, but the Steelers defense is going to blitz him to next week. So I like Big Ben over passing 260.5 yards. And then Russell Wilson. This is the one. This is from the prop bet sheet on Betting Pros. I had to kind of do a little research on this, and it's got a lot to do. Russell Wilson under 305 yards passing at BetMGM. I got it at minus 125 for this one. So let me explain this one just a little bit here, because if you look at the rushing totals here for what the Bills give up, they give up 4.7 yards a rush. And I know Carson's out, but I think they're going to run the ball and be a little bit more balanced. Seattle will be against Buffalo on the road. So I don't think this is Russ just dropping back and throwing, although you can throw on this Buffalo Bills defense. They gave up 6.9 yards per pass play. This is the number third, 7.9 yards per pass for Seattle. They are throwing for 289 yards a game. That's number 3 in the NFL. I just think it's kind of one of those plays where Russ goes for 270, Russ goes for 280. The weather's perfect, okay? But I think they're going to be a little bit more balanced than just back there throwing like crazy, because I think Buffalo is going to really panic and try to protect the passing attack. So Russell Wilson under 305 yards passing at minus 125. That's from the Betting Pros sheet. That's my least favorite of the 4, but I bet it anyway, because there's a projection there that you look at and you're like, okay, there's a big discrepancy there for Russell Wilson as to what he's being predicted like a 275, which gives you 25 yards of value there. And 300 yards is, throwing for 300 yards is throwing for 300 yards. And the Bills may try to run the football more on that Seattle defense. And Patriots ran the ball on them pretty well. So, other teams have run the ball pretty well in Seattle. So maybe you can keep the ball away from Russell Wilson and play a more, slower style and bleed the clock a little bit, and don't let Russ have as many possessions as you would need to, throw for 300 yards. So remember, I normally bet 5. The one that's lacking is Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray rushing, I have not found one that I like yet here this morning. I'm shopping, trying to find a Kyler Murray prop that I like. If I do find that and I like it, I'll tell you about it on the Discord channel, bettingpros.com/chat for the Discord channel coming up here once we get off. All right, so a couple things. Even though you were correct about Rivers, he did have a good passing game last week. Yeah, look, it's against opponent, right? You got to see who they're playing and what they're doing. And yes, all those things matter. I'm not debating that point. But I think if just looking at where that team is for Indianapolis against that defense for the Ravens and what has happened over the last couple of weeks, the Ravens have lost their 2 biggest games. But in teams not named the Chiefs or the Steelers, Lamar Jackson tends to cook and put up big numbers. And that defense tends to be really ferocious against other teams not named the Steelers or the Chiefs. And so this is the Colts coming off of a big win. I've been off on the Colts. Like every year I've got one team that I don't necessarily see very well. I stopped betting the Texans because they suck. So it's, even though I have the Texans on in my Circa team because my partner really liked the Texans this week. But to me, it's got more to do with, I normally got the Texans wrong. So the Colts are the team now that I get wrong. Dan Harris and I have argued about the Colts a lot. I'm just not really sold on the Colts right now. I'm mad about Jonathan Taylor. I thought he'd be a better weapon early in his career for the Colts. I think Phillip Rivers, had a decent game throwing the football, but it's going to be, hit or miss with him. And I think week by week, if he has a good week, he probably has a bad week the next week. So going blitzed, I just think the Ravens defense has got something to say today about this Colts offense. So I think the Ravens are going to be big on that for sure. Correct on Herbert, 5-0 on his passing overs this year. Yep, I think he's going to hit it again. Giants are 11-0 in the last 3 years on grass. That's 11-0 against the spread or 11-0 against overall. But I think the Giants win today. I think that's as I said, one of the things that I do, and if you guys are, let me explain a little bit on my philosophy as to how I bet. So I'm smart enough to know that I'm not that smart. Okay. And I try to talk to as many people as I can because I have access to incredibly smart minds when it comes to gambling. So all week, I'm talking to people on my radio show. I'm talking to people that I know. I'm talking to people that are on the East Coast, on the West Coast, people who gamble, in New Jersey, people who gamble in Vegas, people who gamble in the international market. I just talk to as many people as I can. I aggregate information all the time. So if you listen to me on Thursday when I tape my podcast with Dan Harris for the Betting Pros NFL podcast, there are certain days I will stand on a table and I will yell and scream about a game that I don't like, right? And then on Sunday morning or Saturday night, you may see a switch. And you may see Dan Harris and I flip, or you may see me talk about a game in a different way. That's because I've been talked into something by somebody who I respect, or somebody presents an argument with me that I agree with. So you can get me off of a game. I'm not someone necessarily who stands on tables and says, I am the end-all, be-all, I know everything. I know better. Flat out, I know better. So if you present me with evidence that I'm wrong, I'm going to listen, and I'm going to go, okay, let me do my own research. So I take that conversation, and then I go back into the lab, if you will, and I start breaking things down, and I'm like, you know what, they're right. I'm wrong. I'm not seeing this right. And so I switch. And so sometimes Dan Harris gets really mad at me. He's like, oh, my God, like the Ravens, for instance, this week, okay? I did not like the Ravens because of COVID-19 problems. I was very concerned about the 7 players who might be out for the Ravens defense because I've been burned by what happened with Minnesota in Michigan, right? We didn't know how many players were going to be out, and then all of a sudden the punter, the kicker, 2 starting linebackers, 2 starting offensive tackles were out for the Gophers. Now the Big Ten sucks this year, right? But I mean, at the time, it was like, oh my God, I didn't get that right. And Michigan went in there and they couldn't. It was really a bad. COVID really caused a big problem in that game for Minnesota. So that's why I've been a little gun shy about when teams have like 7 players on COVID. I'm like, how many more cases are they going to have? Could this be like a whole decimation? Is there no defense for the Ravens? So I really was like, no on Thursday. And then as it started to get closer and closer to game time, you saw the players get cleared. And once those players got cleared, then it was like everyone was saying, look, Matt, this is the Ravens. And really sharp people that I know are like, Ravens. The only difference would have been that COVID problem. No COVID problem. The initial line is 4. That line probably would have gone to 6 if they didn't have COVID problems. So that line crashing down to a pick, there's 4 points of value there. Take the Ravens for sure. So I did. So I went ahead and hammered the Ravens. So that's part of my philosophy as sort of like I've got a bag of games and I whittle it down based upon conversations and based upon what's happening information-wise. So that's just how I do it. It's what makes the Daily Juice, for me, somewhat difficult at times because I'm betting overnight and information could come out the morning of the game that I don't have access to because I was taping overnight. So that's one of the little tricky things with the Daily Juice that I'm still trying to figure it out with the podcast because we do it, we've been doing it now for 4 months. And so there's different bets I have made and different bets I have not made because of this reason. So, guys getting scratched late would be big. Like, if Matthew Stafford wasn't going to play today, he is. But if he wasn't going to play today, then it's like, man, could you bet the Lions? There's no Kenny Golladay. Okay, is that going to be a huge difference? Well, without Stafford, no Golladay, Vikings, right? Take the Vikings. Well, Stafford's playing, but Golladay still is not. So it's all right, take the Lions. So that's just part of the way that I do things when it comes to breaking down games and betting on games. Just a peek behind the window or behind the screen, if you will, as to how I do things. Jordan says, Washington coming off of a bye, Giants on a short week, historically not a good combination. It's the NFC East. When is it ever a good combination? It's a horrible division, but again, smarter people believe the Giants win the game outright. Seahawks averaging 34 points a game or so. Yeah, I mean, again, Seahawks, Ravens, Chargers. Those 3 games for me, okay? If I'm wrong on those 3 games today, I'm going to have an awful day. Okay? That's just, excuse me. I'm going to have an awful day. If that's what happens today, if I'm wrong, Buffalo wins, Raiders win, Indy wins, I'm toast. So let's see where we go. But those are the games that really matter to me today for where I am. Kyler 5-2 on rushing over, 6-2 on rushing touchdowns. Yeah, look, Kyler Murray rushing touchdown today. Yeah, it's probably going to be. You might have to lay juice. I've hit that thing a bunch at plus 100, plus 125. That's been a good prop to bet. But the books get smart on those things. So my guess is maybe it's 125, maybe it's 115. You're probably going to lay juice to get the Murray rushing prop today. I could be wrong about that, but I haven't seen the latest numbers on that. But you might wind up, it may be expensive to go ahead and bet that for Murray to score. But him scoring a touchdown, yep. And him rushing, yep. Kyler Murray, I like a lot. 43.5 yards for Kyler Murray on FanDuel. Okay, I mean, anything 45 or under, bet the over. Okay, that would be an overplay for me. But you need multiple runs for Murray to get there. Not to say he can't get there, but Dolphins' defense is pretty good. So that would be my only concern about that. But rushing touchdown, maybe that's the way you do it. Do I think the Vikings win? I don't know. That's why I didn't bet it. I don't know about the Vikings. Because of what happened against the Packers, they may feel like they're not out of it. And if they could put together a string of wins, and if they can they could get in because of the expanded playoffs, because of where we are. They could wind up getting in. So this is a big game for them. Big game for the Vikings today. So I don't know. Do you like the over in the Raiders-Chargers game at 52.5? I do. I do like the over in that game. I do think points are going to get scored in that game. I did not bet it, though, because if you guys have been following me on the Daily Juice, you know that I'm not good at betting. Overs and unders have been just my bugaboo. I'm just not good at it. I mean, bet games I'm betting under go over, games I'm betting over go under. Like, there's no real rhyme or reason. It'd be like, because you could say, like, Matt, just don't bet unders. Well, okay, I've bet overs, and the games have been just, not good and no offense. So it's not just that simple of just going ahead and bet everything over. And I do think points are going to get scored today. So if I were to bet it, I did not. But if I were to bet that, I would bet the over for the Raiders and the Chargers. I do think points are going to get scored. See, for me, all I need is the Chargers to win by 1. And if they lose, just don't lose by more than 5 or 6, I guess, because I have 6 points with the teaser. Mike Williams over 3.5 receptions at plus 132. Yep. I definitely like that for sure. I like Herbert over 259.5 yards passing, like we mentioned, but I think Williams, I couldn't find Mike Williams' yardage this morning because they had not put out the Keenan Allen had not come out. That news had not come out that he was playing. So the books just kind of pulled it off. Everyone, William Hill, FanDuel, DraftKings, where else? BetMGM. All of them. It was off everyone's book. They did not have any Mike Williams, any Keenan Allen props because they didn't know about Keenan Allen. So now that he's playing, I think that's why you're seeing the props pop up for Mike Williams. They're putting it back up on the board. Death, taxes, and Giants beating the Washington football team. Yeah, I think that's that's probably pretty accurate. I think that's something that I would say is very, very possible. Let's see. Ravens currently +1 on FanDuel. Look at, as I've said, I might be way wrong on this. I might not be looking at this game correctly, but I mean, the Colts are an ultimate contrarian play. If you want to fade the public and you're fading, pros and Joes together, these are games that if you're listening to the Daily Juice, I've talked about this a lot. This is the game where the books hate. The books do not like it when the pros and the Joes are on the same side, and they can get wiped out in games like this. So this is Ravens. -4, 3, 2, 1. Now catching points. Okay? Pick catching points. A lot of people do think there's something wrong with Lamar Jackson. That is just, there's a lot of professionals who believe the passing game, there's something wrong. The defense for the Colts has been very salty. It's been very good. And this is one of these games where the public just is looking at this going, we're betting Lamar Jackson. Done. Right? I don't know. So, just so you know, Kay Adams is picking on NFL Network. She likes Justin Herbert as her fantasy quarterback play of the day. So, Raiders are allowing the 4th most fantasy points to a quarterback over the last 4 weeks. Yep, Raiders secondary is not good. Abrams is great. Against the pass, not great. So, there you go. She likes Chase Edmonds as well, and I don't mind Chase Edmonds either, having a big game for the Cardinals against the Dolphins. Let's see. Murray, anytime touchdowns, +140 on DraftKings. Hammer that. Okay, I will bet that once I get off the air here today. I can't do it while I'm on the air, but I need to make a phone call. I can't bet on DraftKings in Vegas. I have to have my family do it, who lives close to the New Hampshire border. So yeah. So that's big. Plus 140. Anytime touchdown for Murray. He'll score a touchdown, I think, today against the Dolphins. Let's see. I'm late. What do I think of Titans versus the Brown versus Brown? No Baker. Is Baker Mayfield out for sure? Is that true? That Baker Mayfield is out? Let me look that up. Let's see. Oh, he's out COVID list. Okay. Wow. All right. I did not know that. Baker Mayfield's on the COVID list. Okay. There you go. It came out about 40 minutes ago. Okay. So Baker Mayfield is out today for the Cleveland Browns. That is, whoo, boy. That's, yeah. Browns are on a bye. Here's the thing about these players on a bye. Yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate that. Players on bye weeks are getting COVID a lot. And this is like the baseball COVID problem when they were on the road and they were allowed to go out into different places. Like if you're not keeping to yourself, if you're going out and you're going to places, parties, restaurants, and you're a football player, NFL player, and you haven't had COVID-19 yet, the chances of you catching COVID-19 are sky high when you are on a bye week. Because Trent Brown, for instance, you wind up going to places you aren't normally going. On bye weeks, players go on vacation. They go to different places, go somewhere warm. If you live in Ohio, maybe you're getting on a plane and you're flying to, to Cabo, or you're flying to, the DR or something. I don't know. You just go into places because you normally do that. You plan your bye weeks out and you say, okay, wife and the kids, or, family and friends or whatever, we're going to go away. And so I don't see you guys all that much during the season. So here's my chance to spend time with my family. And you get around somebody who's been exposed to COVID or has COVID, and bam, you pop positive. So, that happens all the time. And that's been happening now all the time in the NFL. And this is the number one issue, that coming off of buys, teams having COVID-19 problems, it's pretty consistent. So COVID now hitting the Browns. It doesn't mean it's on the whole team. It just means you're starting quarterbacks on the COVID list. And let's see when he tests negative, if he has symptoms, yes or no. What happens to his bout with COVID. Literally every person, when they test positive for COVID, can be problematic. So, okay. Time for a Wong teaser for Baltimore and the under. No, Wong teasers are not same game teasers, by the way, just so you guys know. That's not a Wong teaser. You think the Chiefs are covering -6.5. So you're teasing that down from, because that line hasn't crashed like that, has it? Let me see something. Let me see where we are for. Let me go to Betting Pros. This is always really fun, guys. You can go to Betting Pros. You guys can go ahead and look at the odds, the game odds, and see what the consensus odds are for the Chiefs. It's 10. It's 9 at FanDuel right now, so the number is coming down. 6.5. Chiefs covering -6.5. Why are you asking? That's interesting. Where are Chiefs -6.5? So what, you teased it down from 12? Is that what you did? So it's 12.5, teased it down to 6. It was 12.5 when it opened, right? So did you tease it right away down to 6.5? I do think the Chiefs are going to win this game. And so it's just a double-digit line, and a lot of people like Teddy Bridgewater to keep games close. He's got a very good record against the spread. He's been, he's been able to do some cool things in tough environments, and you got McCaffrey back. So people are like, okay, here comes Christian McCaffrey. He's going to have a big game. Chiefs, historically, last couple of years, have been bad against the run. You got a real legitimate running back. Let's see what Joe Brady does with him. And then what did Joe Brady, or what type of plays did they put in for McCaffrey? But my question is, with McCaffrey, is how many snaps is he going to take? You have to think that McCaffrey is going to be on a snap count today. And so how many snaps is he going to take? How big of an offensive role will he have for the Panthers on the road at the Chiefs? But the Panthers are 3-5. I fully expect them to lose this game, to go to 3-6, and they'll lose. I think they play somebody tough next week. Maybe Seattle next week. I forget who they play, but they play somebody tough who I think they're going to wind up 3-7, and then the year is over and they can just play for next year. So that's why I was on them last week, because I just thought that was their season, and they did not play well at all for the Panthers. So Titans or the Bears, how will Nick Foles do? Look, again, I need to see this Titans team get back to doing what they were doing earlier in the year. I need to watch Ryan Tannehill play better. I need A.J. Brown to play better. I need this team. This is my pick to win the AFC. Okay, I didn't bet it, but this is my pick to win the AFC, and I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like what I'm seeing of the Titans. So again, if I was going to bet this game, I did not, but if I was going to bet this game, I would bet the Bears, and I would take the 6.5 points, 6 points, whatever I can get, and just think that the Bears keep it close. The Titans, if the Titans are going to be a contender here for the AFC, this is a game that they win by double digits. Okay, this is Nick Foles. This is a good defense, but this is a game where you ride Derrick Henry. This is a game where you get a lead early, you execute, you do what you're supposed to do, right? This is a game where it's going to be really important for me to watch. I want to see what the Titans look like. They better play well. Didn't bet it, but this is a big show-me game for the Titans. They got to get going. Speaking of show-me game, how about Dez Bryant? What's Dez going to do with the Ravens? That's going to be interesting. What's the chemistry between him and Lamar Jackson? What's the role for him, frankly? Guys have played in the league since, 2017? So Dez Bryant, I'm mad the Patriots didn't pick him up. I don't really get why the Patriots didn't pick him up, but, it's a complete flyer to see what he's got left, but he's motivated. He's motivated. He wants to prove everybody wrong that his injury wasn't going to be – Achilles is a serious deal, man. For a receiver, it's a big, big deal. So – I'm pulling for Dez. I'm pulling for Dez to have a big game. CMC under props makes sense to me. Splitting carries. Yep, splitting carries, but also the snap count, right? How many snaps coming off of a high ankle sprain that kept him out of the game, off the field for 6 weeks? 7 weeks from McCaffrey? I can't remember how many weeks he's been out, but a long time, right? It's a very tricky injury. You can re-injure it very easily from a running back perspective. So they're going to be super careful with him because what are you playing for, right? You don't want to have surgery for this. You don't want to have this thing turn into something much more serious for Christian McCaffrey. So I would not expect McCaffrey to get a ton of snaps today. So under on his totals, depending on what the number goes to. The books are smart too. They're not stupid. They know that there's a snap count for McCaffrey. So maybe you wait on that till right before the game and let the public bet that number up, and then bet the under on McCaffrey props. I wouldn't mind that. Most of the Bears' offensive line is out. Best case scenario, they play with 2 starting offensive linemen. Worst case scenario, they're out 4 starting offensive linemen. So yeah, okay. Even more of a reason why the Titans should go ahead and win this game. As I said, I would have bet the Bears. I didn't. You should. If you're a Titans fan, you should want to see a double-digit win today. You should go, okay, Titans bow up, they play the way they're supposed to, and they win this game by double digits. That's what should happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. That's what should happen if the Titans are going to be a legitimate contender to win the AFC. The Ravens and the Chiefs clearly are the ones, but the Steelers are, kind of the X factor there. I've gone way off the board. I'm not betting it because I'm not trusting it, but that's where I would go. Like the cat mug? Sorry, I've been talking for an hour straight. Okay, somebody wants the props. Here are the props. Again, Justin Herbert, over 259.5 yards passing. It's expensive, -40 at William Hill's where I got it, but I like Herbert today big. Alvin Kamara, over 41.5 yards receiving, -130 at DraftKings. Big Ben, over 260.5 yards passing against that awful Cowboys defense at -115. And then Russell Wilson under 305 yards passing at BetMGM at -125, simply because I think they run the ball enough and effectively enough against that Bills defense, because that Bills defense is bad. So I think they're going to run the ball. I think they're going to move the ball. I just don't think they're going to throw the ball all over the place, and 300 yards is, 300 yards. It's a lot of yards to go ahead and throw. So that's where I'll be. Steelers are a lock to win the AFC. Drew, I'm not going to fight you on that. I just don't know if I'll call it a lock. It's 2020. Is anything a lock in 2020? I don't think anything's a lock. Someone's asking for Dan Harris's props. I haven't seen. Let me see if Dan has sent me his props. Because he did not, and I asked him this morning. I said, what are your prop plays? And he did not tell me. So let's see if Dan Harris has told me his prop plays, and he has not. So sorry. Dan is a very, very busy guy. That guy, he's at 20 podcasts, live stream on the Instagram page for Fantasy Pros right now. So, this is starting and rostering and building lineups and stacking lineups and everything else. It's, Sunday morning is quite chaotic for anyone in the DFS space, as most of you guys know. It's a little easier for us. we bet the games all week, find the line, and then kick our heels up and watch the game. The DFS guys are more crashing numbers and diving deep into what they're going to do. So Mayfield's on the high-risk contact list. No positive result yet. That's good. Risky to bet CMC. It's 50.5 yards rushing. Yeah. George says, wait, your live streams happen at the same time. Kind of. He starts an hour earlier than I. He starts at 7 o'clock Pacific. I start at 8 o'clock Pacific. So that's why we do this at 11 o'clock because, well, frankly, I'm not getting up at 6 a.m. I get up at 6:45 a.m. to do this. I'm not getting up at 5:45 a.m. on a Sunday morning. That's not doing that. Let's see, what else are you guys saying here? Aguilar over 28.5 yards receiving. I mean, look, Aguilar, if you're an Eagles fan, you hate Aguilar. But Aguilar is, with the Raiders, he's played pretty well. I mean, he's played pretty well. So, look, I understand that a lot of people like the Raiders today, and I'm sort of going on my own island here, but this is a fade spot for me when it comes to the Raiders. And it's a chance for me to take this Chargers team at home against not a bad defense, but a defense they should move the football on. So to me, that defense for the Chargers is good. And I love the weapons. Look, Waller, I love. Jacobs, I love. I don't love Derek Carr, but I like Derek Carr. So I understand why people are going to go on the other side of this, but, give me the Chargers. Interesting to see the NFL Network guys. So are they all on Washington today against the Giants? Which is, let's see. Rich and Mooch are both on Washington. It would be fun if they're all on Washington. I like it even more for us here with plus 2.5 for the Giants, who are 1-7. Washington's 2-5. I mean, okay, so Kurt's taking the Giants. All right, so that there's some people taking the Giants here on that. I do like the Giants on that. Let's see. Steelers defensive touchdown. So Dan won't have props today. Unfortunately, he's too busy. I don't know who wrote that, by the way. That might be Dan Harris, but somebody under the Betting Pros account actually wrote to me that Dan's too busy. So that probably is Dan Harris, to be quite honest, who's writing that. I took over Herbert 270.5, passing under 299.5. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's right in the same ballpark. It's different than me, but it's right in the same ballpark. I bet over 259.5. I bet under 300.5. So pretty much right around the same numbers. Houston defensive touchdown at plus 500. Steelers defensive touchdown at plus 340. Might be worth a sprinkle versus rookie quarterbacks. Not horrible, right? Pick sixes happen. Fumble returns, scoop and score. Those things absolutely happen. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go heavy on it, but it's plus 500. You could catch a flyer and win that. I don't hate that either. Let's see. When you compare Joe Burrow's snap to throw time and Nick Foles is 1.3 second differential. Yeah, I mean, I don't like Nick Foles. Okay, if you like Nick Foles, I'm a Patriot fan. I don't like Nick Foles. For obvious reasons, I don't like Nick Foles, but I just don't. I think he's such a feast or famine guy. It's so hard to bet on or against the dude because sometimes he plays really well. And sometimes he plays absolutely like garbage. And some drives he's okay, and some drives he's horrible. So like betting on him to do anything, it's very difficult to find any real consistency when it comes to Nick Foles. And thus the offense for the Bears is very inconsistent. So do I think he's better than Trubisky? Yes. I do think he should be starting. I think Trubisky's worse. So, they're starting the right guy. It's just that whether or not does he do anything would be my question on that. Jaguars less than 2.5 touchdowns today against the Texans. I mean, you got backup quarterback. Those are tough. So you're saying they're going to score less or just kick field goals today, or score 2 touchdowns and kick field goals? I mean, I guess so. But if you think that, I think you almost have to combine that with an under bet, don't you? Like if you're going to bet the Jags, almost like you have to, you're going to play the under, I'm guessing, because I don't know how many points the Texans put up. Like that's been their problem. I like Deshaun Watson, I do, but like the commentary in Houston this week is all about who the next coach is going to be, and that Watson wants a role. He wants to be in the conversation as to who gets the job. He wants to be part of the front. He wants what Brady always wanted, and Brady never got. He wants to be able to say, I like this guy, I want this guy, draft that guy, let me be in the process, let me talk to the GM. Like he wants to be, and the Patriots told Tom Brady to fly a kite. So if I'm the next GM, you have to be able to tell Deshaun Watson to go fly a kite. Like, great kid, you're the franchise quarterback, but I'm the guy picking the talent around you. And if you don't like that, then this is not going to work. There has to be a working relationship. Recommendations are good. Listening to Watson is good, but it goes back to the whole Bill Parcells thing about, being a chef and wanting to go shop for the groceries. Roles in organizations when the quarterback has a lot of power, it can get dicey. It can get dicey when that happens. Cowboys' lowest scoring team today at plus 250. I don't hate that. That's not a bad flyer on FanDuel. Steelers' highest scoring today at plus 1,000. Boy, I don't know. I don't know about that. Brendan said, I was defending my Titans -4 bet with my Bears having no offensive line. I think the Titans sack him because he holds the ball too long. Yeah, okay. That's fair. I'll give you that. That's fair. Again, the Titans should win this game by double digits. Okay, that's what they should win this game by. I'm watching them. My eyes are on the Titans. I didn't bet it, okay, so I'm not ready to bet them again, but this is a game where if the Titans are going to be what I think that they are, all right, which is a damn good team and in the conversation to win the AFC, today they win that game by double digits today, all right? If they don't, I may need to reassess my take on the Titans. Yeah. Bieniemy is wanted by the Chiefs. The Chiefs want to keep him, obviously, as the OC. But the Jets want him as their new head coach. And the Texans want him as their next head coach. That guy's going to get a job. There's no debating that Eric Bieniemy is going to be a coach next year in the NFL, head coach. But the question is, what team? And, what job would you want? So New York's got money. New York's got potentially Trevor Lawrence, right? So if you're going in there saying, okay, I get to coach arguably the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck, and it's New York. Okay? It's New York. It's prestige. It's power. It's money. It's attention. Okay? Or you go to Houston. You're playing. You're going to coach Deshaun Watson, proven talent. Massive dysfunction in ownership, dysfunction. It's a market that lives and breathes football. They love the Texans. They're the number one game in town. I don't care how good the Astros are. I don't care how good the Rockets are. It's always going to be Texans time. So you're going to be elevated in that market. You're going to be the most powerful sports figure in that market. And you're going to, take over a team that just hasn't done anything really. But the Jets have done nothing in their history really besides Joe Namath anyway. So it's, if I was picking between jobs, you got a tough time because the Johnson family is not great. Ownership in Houston is not great. There are pluses and minuses to both, but to me, if the Jets have the number one pick and they're taking Trevor Lawrence, I'm coaching Trevor Lawrence. That's my own personal thing. Okay, we got a couple of about a minute or so left. Amari Cooper over 42.5 yards receiving. Foles under 270.5 yards passing. Like the Foles prop. Drew Lock under 255.5 yards passing. The Drew Lock prop is part of the prop bet cheat sheet. According to our calculations on for us here at Betting Pros, whereas Drew Lock is number 10, his passing total is 264.5 at BetMGM, and the projection is 242.5. So you bet it at 255.5. Well, you got 10 yards below what the BetMGM number was this morning. These odds are always changing, so sometimes it takes a second for the algorithm to catch up. But, okay, 242.5 is the projection, so you got, 10 yards or so going there? Lions or Vikings? I don't know. I've been asked, that seems to be the game everyone's asking about. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. If I had to bet it, I would probably bet the Vikings, but I don't know. Patrick Mahomes over 293.5. Okay. I don't mind that. I don't mind that number. That's not a horrible number. But Herbert passing is our number one on our prop bet sheet. Nick Mullins was there, but they played already. So, and that cashed. So the number one prop this week, last week 3-0, top 3 plays on the Betting Pros prop cheat sheet, player prop cheat sheet. 3-0, top 3 picks. So 1-0 already. Nick Mullins over passing yardage of 214.5 was the line. The projection was 250. And he went clearly over. So he passed for 291. So the over hit. Justin Herbert today is number 1, number 2 overall for the week. He, for the over passing yardage, I got it at 259.5. The number has come up now. PointsBets has got it at 265.5. Still 31 yards of value there. So Herbert over. Russell Wilson under, which is what I got it. PointsBets, I got it at 300.5. PointsBets, according to the cheat sheet, is at 305.5. So you've got PointsBets, Colorado, New Jersey. Where else is PointsBets? In Illinois, right? For PointsBets. That may be worth taking a look at there. Darren Waller is over 45.5 yards receiving for Darren Waller is the number 4 ranked prop here. So I bet the 2. I bet the 3. I bet the 8, Roethlisberger, over for Roethlisberger. And what's the other one? Oh, Kamara, Alvin Kamara. And Kamara's 12. So Alvin Kamara. So I bet 2, 3, 8, and 12 on this list that you can go check out right now, bettingpros.com. Go to the NFL tab, go to picks, and then go to prop bet cheat sheet, and you guys can see what's being listed. As I said, 3-0 last week. Right now, 1-0 on the week for the number 1 bet. It cashed for this week for the NFL. Okay, so my name is Matt Perrault. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsTalkMatt every single week. Every morning, the Daily Juice podcast drops. If you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please click the subscribe button here wherever you are. Hit subscribe so you always get us here on our prop bets, on our picks and plays every morning on Sunday. And bettingpros.com/chat. That's where I will be on and off all weekend. I got honey to do stuff. I work in the garage and I walk around and do stuff with games on and whatever. So, this is where there's games everywhere. I sit and I watch, but I'm on the Discord channel. So bettingpros.com/chat. There's a Discord channel for the Daily Juice. That's where I will be. There's all other channels where you can be on and talk about your fellow gamblers and plays and picks that you may like and things you want to hop in on. Great for in-game wagering. Great for in between the early games and the late games. Great for after the games are over, heading into Sunday night. It's just a lot of fun. I'm there a ton. Sunday Night Football tonight, I'll be there the whole game. During the day, I'm kind of bouncing around. But Sunday night, Alvin Kamara. Big night for him tonight. Saints plus 4.5. Saints plus 10 on the teaser. A lot riding on that Saints game. I'll be glued to it here for sure. So, my name is Matt Perrault. You can also follow me on Twitter at SportsTalkMatt. Thanks for being here. We're back next week, same place, same time for our Daily Juice live stream for Week 10 on YouTube for the Betting Pros YouTube channel here. I will talk to you in the Discord channel, bettingpros.com.